Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm making a very interesting dish called khashlama. Khashlama is a traditional Armenian vegetable and lamb stew made with simple ingredients. This iconic Armenian dish is delicious, satisfying, and surprisingly very easy to make. So let's make it. And of course, we're gonna need lamb for this dish. I have 5 pounds of lamb chops because I'm just making a humongous portion of it. But you could use a different cuts of lamb like loin, shank, or shoulder. The choice of vegetables for this dish can vary and it depends on your taste, but I'm gonna use 3 tomatoes. You could use aroma tomatoes or regular tomatoes, 3 onions. I'm gonna use 3 different peppers. 2 of them are bell pepper and 1 of them is Anaheim pepper. It's a little bit of spiciness to it. I'm gonna use the whole head of garlic and 1 eggplant. We're gonna use 6 different types of fresh herbs. Feel free to add or subtract. I have 1 bunch of basil, 1 bunch of dill, 1 bunch of tarragon, 1 bunch of cilantro, 1 bunch of green onion, and 1 bunch of parsley here. Spices, my favorite part. I have salt here, black pepper. I have lamb seasoning for the lamb. I will explain to you what's in it. I have this spice. It's solneli, which is fenugreek and some other spices used very widely in the dishes from the Caucasus region. I have a hot pepper, which is Aleppo. It's a little bit milder than your regular chili pepper. I have 3 bay leaves here, and I have 1 dry hot chili. And this ingredient, surprise, surprise, 2 12-ounce bottles of beer. I have this huge pot. It's a 10-quart stock pot. I'm gonna use it for this recipe because we're gonna do a lot of layering of ingredients here, and I want this pot to be big. We need to do some prep work, which is take the skins of the tomatoes, because if the skin goes in the stew recipe, it's just gonna float there around and it's not gonna be very pretty, and also it's not gonna taste very good. So we're just gonna crisscross the tomatoes, pour some hot water over them, and leave them for about 2 minutes. We're gonna do some preparation to the eggplant too. We're gonna take the skin off of it. And here's an interesting old wives' tale that there are male and female eggplants, and the male of the species is better eaten, detected because it has an outer blossom and the opposite to the female inner blossom. And well, there is no such thing. Well, by the way, mine is a female. We're gonna see the difference. They say that the females have more seeds in them. It doesn't actually make a big difference. So we're gonna cut our eggplant into circles. We're gonna place it in a large bowl, gonna put 1 tablespoon of salt in it and pour some cold water, and then this has to soak for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna use a whole head of garlic in this dish. I just love garlic. I like the taste of it, and I like what it does for this dish. It just brings all the flavors together. So we're just gonna smack the garlic cloves lightly with the knife and peel them. I'm gonna use 3 peppers here, with 2 of them being bell pepper and 1 is Anaheim pepper. Using 2 different colors for the bell peppers. We just need to take the seeds out. And why I have decided to use Anaheim pepper, I wanted to have a little bit of a spiciness to this dish, but not a lot. It's actually not very spicy pepper. You could read it in the description. It's only at 1,000 SHU versus to the jalapeno pepper, which is 8,000. So if you want to bring this very nice heat, very mild, almost not noticeable heat to this dish, use Anaheim pepper in addition to the bell peppers. Cut all peppers into circles and set them aside. And we're gonna move on to the onions. I have 3 white onions here. Why white onions? Well, just because those are much easier to peel. As you can see, the skins just come off easily. And we're gonna also cut them into circles. Let's check on our tomatoes. As you can see, there's a detachment of the skin of all the tomatoes, and you see how easy it would be to peel off the skin off of them. It was just using a paring knife. And of course, the tomatoes are gonna be cut into circles as well, and they will produce a lot of juice. So try to scrape it down and put it in the bowl because we will need it for the recipe. Let's check on our eggplant as well, and the reason we salt it and put it in the water, that removes a little bit of bitterness in the eggplant. Then we of course need to dry it out, this excess water. We're just gonna place it on a paper towel and place the paper towel over it. Now we need to roughly chop all the fresh herbs, and when I say roughly chop, it means like don't fiddle with it too much. You don't need to run your knife 25,000 times over it because this is all get stewed and most of the fresh herbs are gonna disintegrate in the sauce. So we cut our cilantro, onion, and parsley, and now we're gonna move on to the herbs that have stems. So we have to remove the stems from tarragon, and we have to remove the stems from the fresh basil. We're just gonna be using the leaves because the stems are gonna be not as tender in this recipe. And of course, since we cut those separately, now we need to mix all the herbs together. Now we need to season our lamb. We're just gonna season it with salt, pepper, and that lamb spice seasoning. And I will tell you what exactly in it. There could be like different combinations, but this one that I bought has the dried onion, mint, salt, dried garlic, ground coriander seed, black pepper, rosemary, and oregano. And I guess that's the spices that go well with lamb. If you're not a big fan of lamb, I bet you can make this dish with beef. All the prep work is done. We're gonna start layering this dish. We're gonna put couple tablespoons of olive oil on the bottom of the pot, and there is a certain order that these vegetables are gonna go into. So first we're gonna go put the onions, then the bell peppers, the combination of the three, then we're gonna put the tomatoes, the fresh herbs, then we're gonna put the garlic. So divide the amount of garlic into three because we're gonna have three layers at the end. We're gonna put a little bit of salt on top, a little bit of that Aleppo pepper, and also the fenugreek, and then we're gonna layer the lamb on top of it. Just divide your lamb as well into three different parts, and the eggplant is gonna go on top of the lamb because the eggplant is pretty much very bland vegetable, so it needs to go on top of the meat so it could have a better flavor. And then we're just gonna repeat all the layers as we did in the first layer, with following up with all the vegetables and the lamb and the fresh herbs, and just continue building your layers. It's not that hard, and of course the bigger the pot, the bigger the more layers you're gonna have. If you have just a small pot, so you might just have 2 layers or 1 layer. It depends on how many people you are making this dish for. I have a very similar dish on my channel, but it is not Armenian, it's Georgian. It's called ajap sandal. And also the vegetables and the meat are layered in layers, but unlike this dish, all the vegetables are pretty much fried instead of just stewed. And I've seen in some recipes that they add potatoes too, so you're more welcome to add potatoes if you like potatoes. But for me, it's just gonna be simply meat and vegetables. We're gonna put our bay leaves on top of all the layers, and here comes the secret ingredient. We're gonna pour 2 bottles of beer, and it doesn't matter what beer you use. You could use light or dark beer, but the beer is gonna give this dish an amazing flavor. we're gonna put this huge pot on the stove and gonna bring it to a boil because we need to evaporate alcohol in the beer, and we're gonna boil it for 2 to 3 minutes. As soon as you see everything is boiling, we're gonna add 2 cups of water. And I forgot to mention that this is a stew, but if you want to make it into a soup, then just add more water. And we're gonna simmer it for 1 hour. After 1 hour, as you can see how everything just came down, it reduced to almost half. We just need to taste the broth to make sure it has enough seasoning. I feel like I want to add just a little bit of salt, mix it, and then you can taste it again, but I just kind of felt how much salt I need to add. And your khashlama is ready. You could serve it as is, as a stew, maybe with a side of potatoes or rice, or you can enjoy it as a soup too with some great Armenian bread called lavash. So this dish to me is everything I like. I like the meat and I like the vegetables, and look how tender this lamb is absolutely amazing and such a great dish. You just need to try it. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye.